Alright, so if you're already a property owner or you're planning to own a property, either a land or house in Enugu, you should pay attention to this video because the Enugu Land Use Regulation 2025 will directly affect you, and that's why you should pay attention to this video. Watch it to the very end so that you'll be better equipped on how best to go about owning a property here in Enugu. I remember the famous saying that ignorance of the law is not an excuse. So that's why you should pay attention and know how to save yourself from a costly mistakes while investing in Enugu State real estate and how you can invest the right way. After going through the Enugu State Land Regulation 2025 for about 3 times now, I decided to share my takeaways. Let me not just hold the information to myself. Let me educate my clients and prospective clients and the general public about things they should know about the Enugu State Land Use Regulation 2025. Number 1 on my list is that after going through the Enugu State Land Use Regulation, it is stated that the Chief Land Officer of Enugu State is the MD of ENGIS. ENGIS is Enugu Geographic Information System. So they are the ones that are currently in charge in digitalizing land administration processes in order to bring transparency and order in land administration in Enugu. Number 2 is that all landholders or claimants of title or occupation must apply for a new Digital Right of Occupancy. It might be statutory or customary right of occupancy. You can decide to go and check out my videos previously where I talked about right of occupancy, the types, where I explain the different types, the statutory right of occupancy and the customary right of occupancy. But let me just give a brief definition. So statutory right of occupancy is the legal right given to an individual by the state governor of a state to use and occupy a piece of land for a specific period of time. But customary right of occupancy is the right given by the local government chairman of an area to an individual to occupy a piece of land for a given specific period of time. And you should note that right of occupancy does not give you full ownership of a land. It just gives you a legal access to use and occupy the land for a specific number of years. The next thing you should know about the Enugu State Land Use Regulation 2025 is that ENGIS will be the one to prepare, register and give out both the customary and statutory right of occupancy. The statutory right of occupancy will be signed by the state governor, while the customary right of occupancy will be signed by the local government chairman of the area. So the next thing you should know that Enugu State government may establish through publication in the Gazette or national or local newspapers deadlines for submission of application for the new digital R of O. And you must know that there may be deadlines for specific areas, and when you fail to submit application when it is the time for the area where your property or your land is situated, you may be penalized. You should also know that the new digital C of O will be the only official and acceptable document that certifies the owner as the true legal owner of that property, and it will be the only transactional document that banks, other financial institutions and law enforcement agencies will accept as the only evidence of title. So for you to access loans or mortgages from any financial institutions in Nigeria, the only acceptable title document that you will present is the new digital C of O. So you should also know that the person whose name is in the new digital C of O will be responsible for paying fees, rates and rents arising from the grant of the right of occupancy. Another interesting thing is that you, as a right of occupancy holder, you are mandated to pay your ground rent on or before the first day of January of each year without any notice or demand from the state government. And when you fail to do so, you will be penalized. Also know that properties occupied by government institutions, offices that engage in non-commercial activities will not be paying ground rent. The next interesting fact that that the next interesting thing I got to know from reading the Enugu State Land Use Regulation 2025 is that if you obtain your right of occupancy with fraudulent information or documentation, or by withholding information or documentation, that right of occupancy will be revoked and you'll be subject to criminal prosecution. The next thing is that if you already have a customary or statutory right of occupancy, you are mandated to apply for recertification. You're also mandated to apply for the new digital CFO on or before the 2nd of December 2025. For those who have properties in planned, private and undocumented layouts, it is your duty to go and do regularization on or before December 2026. So regularization simply means you going to register that land with ENGIS and obtaining the new digital CFO. This is one of the most interesting part that you should pay attention to. It says that from time to time, the Enugu State Governor shall by order compulsorily acquire land for overriding public interest or for strategic economic development of the state. So overriding public interest means that they will acquire that land for a project that will be for the overall benefit and overall good of every one member of that particular state. So it can be for projects like schools, markets, hospitals, road expansions and other projects. Is that when this happens and you have the right title documents, those with statutory and customary right of occupancy will be compensated. Then the last but not the least is that before you commence any development in the state, you must obtain an approval from the Enugu State Capital Development Authority. Before you start clearing, before you start building, before you start fencing any property, you must first go and obtain building approval. You must get an approval from the Enugu State Capital Development Authority. And of course, that development must be in compliance with land use regulations, and it is also to make sure that the state is well organized and in order. So if you find this video helpful, do well to like, subscribe and share.